Happy Self Love Sunday. I am Tarnisha Moe Sass, your host of Self Love Sundays with Sass. I am your vision strategist coach that comes every single Sunday so we can talk about all the ways in which we can better our best. And today we are going to be diving into a topic that is, I feel like it's hitting so many people. It's something that I'm seeing a lot, and I really feel like people are not connecting to what's really going on in this digital age, and it's the illusion of connection through social media versus the real power of community. I feel like this recently, it's been all about what's happening on social media, and we're not living our real lives. And I want to talk about it today. So we're going to just start by addressing the elephant in the room, with social media. Like, how many of you really wake up in the morning and like grab your phone and start scrolling through social media before you even had your coffee? Scrolling through, and I know some of us who are professionals wake up and they start scrolling through email, but how many of you really wake up and like, let me just, the first thing I do is I'm going to turn on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook. I don't know why people are starting off their morning with Facebook. Okay, I said it. Oh, but because you feel like you got hundreds of friends and you have all these connections, and you may have likes and all this. You do all of that. How many of you do that, but you still feel alone? Like, can you be honest today? I mean, I'm seeing it more and more where it's not really, I'm having these conversations with people, and it's like everybody's talking about how they feel lonely, how they feel isolated. They're not really going out. There's not too much to do. But yet they're spending 3, 4, 5 hours a day scrolling on social media. And it may not seem like you're doing it. However, I guarantee you, if you check, if you have an iPhone, especially how much usage you're doing, I promise you, if you add it up, you will be surprised. You will probably be on social media more than you be on your job. And I think that people are getting it confused that social media is a tool, not a community. It's not, it was never meant for as a place where we're going to just forget about our real lives and just be on this device all day looking into the windows of other people's eyes and peeking in. I mean, social media gives the illusion of connection, but often it leaves you feeling more isolated than ever. It's funny because I was like, it's like junk food for the soul. It's easy, it's everywhere, but it leaves you feeling empty. I mean, if you eating junk food, is definitely empty calories. And the other thing that was like so interesting, as I was studying this and I was looking it up, and I was like, all right, let me look at what's the statistics on this, because a lot of times we come here and we do these videos and talk, and people are like, oh, I really don't believe it. But do you know that a recent study found that despite increased online activity, 30% of people, and 30% of people feel more isolated than ever before the rise of social media? And you think about it, right? Before social media, we couldn't look all over the world and see what everybody was doing and how everybody was doing and what was going on in different countries. But yet we feel more isolated more than ever. And it's like, why is that, right? You might be thinking, but I'm connecting with people every day when I go on these social medias, but you're communicating. You're not connecting. That's a total different thing. Like, are you building deep, meaningful relationships, or are you just comparing your life to carefully curated, highlighted reels? Because the truth of the matter is, when people do reels, they're cutting things, they're pasting, they're editing. Their whole life is edited. And yet so many people are looking on it and comparing what they're seeing in other people's lives and like, well, why don't I have that? And why don't this look like that? And then the other thing that people forget is, if we're doing edited content, some of that stuff is not even real. You can go rent a house in video content out of. You can go rent a space in video content. You can rent a car, you can rent a helicopter. And I'm not here to call those people out. That's not what this is about at all. This is about you, helping you wake up today and understand that you lack community. And listen, we always listen. This is a cliche that we hear all the time. Comparison is the thief of joy. But yet we do it all the time. But when you live in a world of comparison, you're robbing yourself of the joy that comes from building your own life and celebrating your own successes. As a coach, sometimes I'm coaching people and I'm like, man, you did such great things. And I find that my clients are still be down themselves. And I'm like, well, what's going on? Like you have achieved something that most people have never achieved, right? And they're still upset. And it's because it's like, well, this person that I look up to or this person that I follow, they've done this and this by this age. And I'm like, it's so sad today that people can't experience joy. There's nothing wrong with experiencing joy and still saying, I want to go after more, and allow yourself the joy though. Stop robbing yourself looking at other people like you don't know what their start was. You don't know what they've gone through. You don't know what has happened in their life to put them on a trajectory of where they are. And I'm going to say this to you. Most times, if you really, really had a glimpse inside someone's home and what they had to go through in order to have the success or whatever they have that you're comparing yourself to, you won't want their journey. I tell people that all the time. It's like, sometimes it's like I hear, and I used to hear, like people would say, like, man, like I wish, I had this, or I spoke like this, or whatever in comparison to me. And I'm like, okay, but what are you willing to do for that? Are you willing to bury two sons for that? Are you willing to go back and be a single mom on welfare for that? Are you like, what are you willing to do? Because that's my story. It's part of my story. Now, there was some great parts of my story too. And I went through a lot of trauma and turmoil in my story to get to where I am. So this is why this conversation becomes more important, because I want you to stop comparing yourself. You don't know what those people had to go through. Think about all the things you had to go through just to get to where you are right now. You see what I'm saying? Like, I really want this to be the video that you come back and you listen to when you start to open up social media and compare what somebody else is doing to what your life looks like. You really don't even know what their life looks like. Let's just be real on that. But I actually, throughout this video, I want to give you every step of the way some practical tips of things that you can do. So I'm going to start off with giving you 3 practical tips right now. And the first thing is a digital detox. Can you do a 24-hour social media detox? Now that's going to be hard. Oh, that's going to be hard for some people. It's like fasting, right? When I tell people I do a 7-day water fast, they're like, "What?" It's like, yeah, I do a 7-day water fast, and it's not always about spiritual. Sometimes I love to challenge myself to see, what I can take myself to, like the brinks of what I can do with my mind and my body and my soul, right? But I want you, if you can, all right, let's do this, because I know 24 hours is going to be extremely hard, especially for those who grew up in social media age. For those of us who were born before social media, you may be able to do it. But for those who grew up in social media age, it may be harder. So let's start off with you going, let's just go 4 hours from the time you get up, 4 hours with no social media. So no TikTok, no Facebook, no Instagram, none of that. I know people use Snapchat. There's all these different social media. And here's what I'm telling you. If you run your business on social media, what I want you to do is prepare, right? How do we prepare? You set up all your videos that are going to, is this like schedule them the day before to hit. That's what I do, like schedule it, right? So that allows your time back. The next thing, I want you to replace scrolling with calling. Every time you feel the urge to go on social media, pick up the phone and call a friend or a family member. Like, really connect, like see what's going on in people's lives. That simple switch will help you build deeper and more meaningful connections instead of looking on social media. Because a friend of mine did that. Like, he was like, oh, I saw on social media like you're doing fine. I'm like, that's not the truth. First of all, I shot that video 2 weeks ago and I just uploaded it. Like, no, I'm struggling over here. Right? Like, that was a real feeling and a real thing I was going through that week. And it's so interesting that so many of us will turn on social media and see our friends or our family and they think, oh man, they're all good. That's not true. That is not true. So the first thing, try digital detox. If you can't do 24 hours, do 4. Okay. Challenge yourself. Challenge yourself to do it for one day. Replace scrolling with calling. Next thing, reflect and connect. I want you to write down the names of people who you genuinely care about. And I want you to get intentional, especially if you haven't connected with them in a while, and make it a point to reach out to them this week. Like, whether it's a phone call or in-person meetup, schedule time to go have, if you don't like coffee, go for tea. My girlfriend yesterday, she was going to a tea house with somebody. She doesn't like coffee. Schedule to go to tea. And it doesn't always have to be food. Schedule to go for a walk with somebody or just do a meetup. My girlfriend came here when I came back from my coach, from doing my VIP day with my coach. My girlfriend came over. We ordered seafood. We sat in my house and we laughed and we talked and we caught up. That was so amazing. Like, so those are 3 simple things you can do. All right. If you can't do 24, do 4. Replace scrolling with calling and reflect and connect. Right. So now that we talked about the illusion of social media, let's talk about what real community look like. community looks like and why it's essential. Especially if you're trying to build a business, get a promotion on your job, want to be an author, like anything huge you're trying to achieve, especially if you're a person who dreams big, or you're a person who keeps setting up goals and you can't, like, you're not getting there. It's like I can't understand like what's going on. Why cannot I get or gain these goals that I keep trying to work for? Whether you got careers, families, and responsibilities, but it's like, how many of you have a real community that supports you? And I'm not talking about social media again, like the likes of other people. The likes are cool, but I'm talking about in real life. You know what I mean? Like, how many of you really have real, true community where like you guys are supporting each other? You meet up with each other weekly, or bi-weekly or monthly, that you're supporting one another, and then because I know people like, oh, on my birthday, it's so funny. My birthday just passed. I had, which is a blessing. I want to be real, like over like 200 something people, just like happy birthday. That once a year where your timeline blows up, and it's a beautiful thing. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, people showing up for you when it really counts. Real community isn't just about being around people. It's about being with people who truly understand, support, and uplift you. That's a total different ballgame. I'm working on building my business. I have a community of people who stand by me, who hold me accountable, who cheer me on, who corrects me. That's what I'm talking about in real life, not just on social media. Like in real life, who supports you? I'm telling you, again, doing research, I was like, all right, I was looking up different statistics, and it showed that individuals who are part of community are 24% more likely to achieve their professional and personal goals than those who try it alone. Because how many of you are out here? I'm just going to do it by myself. Listen, I'm here to tell you that yes, there's a part of your journey that you're going to have to walk alone. And normally that part of the journey is when you're being moved from being around people who you really aren't supposed to really be around. And when you're not allowing yourself time to connect with yourself, to connect with your inner self, mind, body, and soul. If you keep neglecting yourself, there's going to be time where you're going to be pulled away and you're going to have to do part of the things alone. And it wasn't meant to as a setup for you to continue to do that every single day along the way as you're trying to build this business, as you're trying to grow on your job, as you try to grow as a person. If you're not working on self-development and growth, like literally every single day, I don't know what you're doing, because that's what we should be doing. And here's the thing: am I saying that we're not supposed to have fun? No, you should be having fun in that. You should be having fun in that. Now, it's not always fun. When I come and talk to you, I'm straight up going to tell you, I know you hear all the time, enjoy the journey. There's times when I don't enjoy the journey. That's being real. And I also realize that's a temporary part of the season. It's not meant to be forever. And some of you guys are getting this twisted and you're making it forever, where it's like, oh, I'm just going to do all of it alone. That's not okay. That's not okay. And here's the thing: moreover, people who have strong ties are 50% more likely to live longer, healthier lives, because it is healthy to connect. It's healthy to talk those things through that you're going through. Now, I'm not telling you to dump in, have your friends be your therapist. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that as you're going through things, when you have some supportive community, you're more likely to be healthier. You're more likely to stay healthy. I remember when I was, I taught fitness. Those of us who bound, like we would like bind together and went to the gym together and worked out, we stayed on track because we were doing it together, not trying to do everything by ourselves. I mean, like, think about it. If you're trying to grow a business or climb the corporate ladder, who are the people that are pushing you forward? You need people. Are you surrounding yourself with individuals who are just as hungry for success as you are? Because if you're not, I'm telling you right now, that's what's in the way. You got to get around people who are running. It's like a pack of people who are all running in the same direction, not necessarily doing the same things, but running in the same direction of like, listen, we're going after something together. We're going to achieve something together. We're going after our big dreams. We're not around people who are shooting our ideals down or saying this can't happen and that can't happen. You don't know what can happen. I'm saying, like, you got to get around those people who are running. Like, we're all running in the pack towards the same thing, which is like to be better, have better, do better, to leave legacy. Those are my legacy builders. If you're a legacy builder, where you at? Like, that's real. But the truth is, the most people, most successful people are those who are actively engaged in communities. If you think about the people that you admire the most, They're a part of masterminds. They are a part of like communities. Now, it's not free, but they're around the communities of like-minded individuals. It's true. Some of you listen, sometimes you gotta play to pay. You gotta pay to play. I mean, excuse me on that. Yeah, you do. And it's worth it because now you're around people who are striving to better themselves, and they're real because they're putting their money where their mouth is. They're investing in themselves. They're not investing in the culture and the people. No, they're investing in themselves. It's like, listen, in order for me to achieve greatness and be better, I got to get around those people who are doing that. Community is the catalyst for success. When you surround yourself with people who are on the same mission, you're not just adding to your success, you're multiplying it. Birds of a feather flock together is real in these streets. I said it. Like, you're the sum total of the five people that you hang out with the most. Think about it. So what are some things you can do? You heard me say it earlier. Join a mastermind group. If you're serious about your personal and professional growth, seek those things out. There are plenty of mastermind groups for the things that you desire to do. When you regularly meet up with like-minded individuals who challenge and not listen, challenge and inspire you, you're gonna win. I promise that. You're gonna win. Also, be vulnerable. Real connections are built on vulnerability. Don't come in when you're struggling. Like, I don't come in here when I'm struggling and pretend like, oh, it's all, rainbows and sunshine. No. It's listen, sometimes I understand you have to put on a brave face. I get that, right? But when you're in community with people, that's not the place to put on a brave face. That's the place to be vulnerable. Hey, listen, I'm struggling in my business because I am vulnerable and I say those things. That's what allowed me to even get with my latest coach. It was vulnerability. It was being vulnerable and saying, listen, my business is not going where I wanted to go and how I want it to be. And, I'm not connecting with the right people. Like, I had to get real with myself. And a lot of you are not real with yourself. And that's because we're living in a world where it's so much illusion with looking at other people's windows. So you get afraid. It's like, no, be real in those circles. I'm not telling you to get on social media and just like be vulnerable with everybody, on the internet. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying build a community or join a community so that you can deepen your connection and get the support that you need. The support that you need that you don't think that exists, it does. And you have to seek it out. I had to seek it out. And here's the other thing: support other people. Make it a habit of actively supporting the people in your community, whether it's attending their events, whether it's celebrating their successes, or simply being there when they need to talk. Like, it's such a big deal. Like, people always make it a thing like people don't support me. Listen, the biggest thing that you could ever do is support somebody who is even a content creator or does YouTube like I do. A like, it doesn't hurt you. It doesn't. Subscribing doesn't hurt you. Or say, hey, listen, I'm listening to this person. They're giving me great knowledge or great wisdom or great information, and pass it along. It's not always that you have to spend money with that person. It's the simple things, and we forget that. And we forget how to support one another. It's so simple to like, subscribe, and share. That's the smallest thing that you can do for somebody. It's like, don't always think about the big things. It's great when you can sow a seed into someone. It's beautiful when you can invest in other people. And I commend you when you do. I do it all the time. I may not come and talk about it. I'm not one that shares where I support and how I support, but I definitely support because I know how hard it is to do what we do every single day. It's tough for people, even the content creators. You think it's easy. It's work behind the scenes. It's work to put together the production. I want you to hear that because it is a production. You think it's their life. It's a production. You think somebody has a camera sitting by their bed all night on video. So when they wake up, they like stretch and yawn and it's fresh. Absolutely not. They set the camera up. They go hit the record. They lay back down and then they get up. And I'm not knocking. I want you to understand what you're comparing yourself to. You're comparing yourself to a production. So we talked about a little bit of relying on the dangers of relying on social media and thinking that it's for connection. We've explored the power of community, but I really want to talk about when you're striving for success, though, right? We got to bring it all together because when you are out here really trying to not trying when you're actively working to be successful, I want to like talk about how, because this is the thing, so many people are feeling like stuck, overwhelmed, and just tired. I'm trying to build this thing. I don't know what I'm doing. Like the people are not coming. I'm making the videos every single week. People are not liking, people are not sharing, people are not subscribing. I'm exhausted. And it's like, this is all because you're really trying to do it by yourself. I want you to hear that. When I started doing these videos, I felt the same way. It was like, man, I may only get like one view, or, like, man, this is overwhelming. I don't like being on camera. Is my makeup okay? Is my gloss still on my lips? I'm gonna tell you guys, one day I shot the video and I put the gloss on and it like spilt down my chin, and I couldn't redo the video. Like, I was going through it. But the thing is, I was at first, when I tried to do it, I was going at it alone. And so when I got myself into a community, I'm telling you, it wasn't just something that was nice to have. It was essential to my growth. It was essential to me showing up every single Sunday. It was essential to my mental health. It was essential to my spiritual health. It was essential to my physical health, because we challenge each other. Listen, isolation is the enemy of growth. True connection isn't just about having people around you. It's about having the right people around you. I'm going to say it again. Isolation is the enemy of growth. It's not, true connection is not just about having people around you. It's the right people. I'm telling you, you can build the business at the wrong time with the wrong people, and that's when things are just out of whack. It's about knowing what season you're in and then getting around the right people. That's why every time I do a new venture and I level up, I get a new coach, because it's important to have the right people in that surrounding. Right now, I'm building. Just to be very candid, I just relaunched my new community, as well as I'm launching a new coaching program. If I wasn't around the right, I mean, these people are pushing me like to do more than I ever have done before. And I realized that me being isolated before did stump my growth. I'm not coming here telling you guys something that I'm not living. I'm actually living this thing. And I also coach, and I've seen so many professionals, especially those who like are middle age, get caught up in the grind, thinking like, oh well, I just gotta grind this out by myself. That grind is keeping you stuck. That grind is keeping you stagnant. That grind is keeping you from success. That grind is keeping you from joy. That grind is keeping you from real, authentic connection with people who are of like mind, who actually can help you get to the next step so easier and with some joy. But you know what? It's like, I wish you guys knew the truth. The truth is, you don't have to do it alone. There are people out there. The reason why you don't trust people is because you don't trust yourself. You don't trust yourself because you don't trust your past decisions. You don't give yourself grace to understand that you didn't fail, you were learning, and that you learned a lesson, and now you can go forth better, be better, do better, and make better decisions about the people that you're going to be around. Yes, you have to use your discernment. Yes, you have to, open up your wisdom and your judgment when you're around those people, and listen to the language that they use. It's really important. And it's time for you to stop letting your past dictate your present so you can have a better future. I'm telling you, like middle-aged adults who actively engage in community are 35% less likely to experience depression. Yes, that's why you're depressed, because you're alone, stuck in those same thoughts about where you think you should be and why you're not there, looking at yesterday, looking at what you don't have instead of being grateful for what you do have, and seeking out those things that you do desire with a community of like-minded people. It's so important. Yes. And on the flip side, those who feel isolated are much higher risk of mental health issues, including anxiety and chronic stress. So if you're feeling that way, are you connecting with people? Are you just sitting alone? I have a family member going through that right now. It drives me crazy because I just want to shake her. I just want to be like, man, that's because you sit over here, you isolate, and you're going down the rabbit hole of what you don't have and what you in your life, whether it's a relationship or children or whatever, instead of getting up and going to make it happen. And I know when I say go to make it happen, I'm not talking about forcing anything. I'm talking about putting yourself in places of growing communities, getting outside the house, going out, going to the gym, going out where you can meet people. You can't sit in your house, in your living room, eating the bonbon, staring at the tube all day in social media, and then wonder why life is not happening for you. Well, I just answered the question, okay? And I want to be clear, success isn't just about what you achieve, it's about who you achieve it with. Surround yourself with a community that lifts you up and rises you higher than you could ever do it alone. You can't. I'm telling you, success is like Jay-Z. There was a song that Jay-Z and Beyonce talked about, and I think it was he was talking about a boss. And the boss is not just in what you achieve, it's about who you bring up with you. Who's your clique? Who's your crew? Who's those people who are like right alongside of you, letting you know that you got this and you can do it? And you have to get outside your own mind too. I want to be clear on that. You got to step outside yourself. So what are some things you can do? Because I don't want this video to get too long. Host a networking event. Like start hosting small gatherings. I don't care if it's 2 or 3 people. Host it in your home, or host a gathering somewhere else. Like, go to, like, again, people may not like Starbucks, but a coffee house or anything like that. Host a walking club. Like I saw in Atlanta, they have these awesome run clubs. Do a walking club. There's so many things you can do, right? Create an affirmation party. So what that is, because I love this, you can do it for Christians too. You can do a scripture board party. So it's like building a vision board, but building a vision board of all affirmations that will help you when you're feeling down, or building a scripture board of scriptures that will just light you up. Because I believe that whoever you believe in believes that you are the best in the world, and they have scriptures to help you understand that. And so have a scripture board party with your Christian friends, or affirmation party with your girlfriends or your guy friends. And I know men are like, what? Listen, you need it too. Okay. Vision board parties. They are so fun. Come together. Everybody bring a little dish, eat, fellowship, have fun, connect, help build in each other's dreams, help support one another in their dreams. Listen, get a mentor and or be a mentor. You seek out someone who can mentor you, someone who can, or someone you can mentor. That's a way of giving back. If you want to be fulfilled, give back. That's the most fulfilling feeling in the world, right? Because that helps you give and receive. If you're interested in learning more about my community, and I'm not here for that, but if you're a person, and if you're a person who resonates with me, you can always www.mosass.com. I have all the information also linked in this video on YouTube. If you're looking for a community to join, yes, there's an application process, because again, I am serious about having the right people in your community. I don't do Debbie Downers. I don't do woe is meers. I don't do that. I am so real about who I am as a coach. And if you're a person that sure life is not looking right, and sure, you're trying to achieve things and you're just not sure. I'm not saying that you can't be the person who have moments, but if that's how you live your life, if you're a woe is me, and if you constantly in victim mode, you're not the right person. You're not the right person for anybody's community, to be real with you, unless you're looking for a pity party community. I'm just going to be real, because here's the thing. I'm going to tell you what I mean by that too, because I understand that this video, and I'm going to add this disclaimer, is that, I'm not talking about victim in terms of anyone who's been hurt physically, verbally, abused. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when things happen in our lives and they don't work out the way we want. Maybe we're trying to go after a goal of, achieving a business or something like that, and it didn't work out, and you're still stuck on that, and it happened 10 years ago. Like, no, ma'am. No, sir. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. I'm here to tell you that things happen for a reason. Whatever that reason is, we can work on healing that to let that go so we can continue to grow. All it was a lesson, honey. And if you really think about it, getting away from some of those people was a blessing. Okay. And don't try to do life alone. Listen, build a community, invest in real relationships. If you want real love in your life, go create it. Go stop being so afraid. No one's going to hurt you. You're going to hurt yourself more trying to do all of this alone. Okay. So until next time, y'all, stay fabulous. Keep loving yourself. And I know you were like, this is the self-love channel. Yes, this is a part of loving yourself. I love myself enough to go build beautiful community with beautiful people and run this world together because I don't have to do it alone. I wasn't meant to, and in our whoever God you serve didn't build this world for it to be like that. I love you, and I hope you have the most amazing week. And I will talk to you next Sunday.